The saying one pill can kill, it really can. Fentanyl is the real deal. It is the real deal. Brian was a very pretty baby and easy. He was easy, easy. He slept, he did all of the things, he was cute. As he got older, he was very, very charismatic. He did well in high school. He lettered. He even spoke a little Latin. He was talented. Anything with the ball, arts, music, any of that was very natural to him. And I think sometimes he didn't understand that other people did not have all of these natural abilities. I think he started to dabble in drugs in high school. And it wasn't until after high school, I think maybe he started floundering a little bit and didn't have any direction. So his drug use became more intense. And once he found opioids, you know, uh, heroin became his drug of choice. And he started running and gunning more out on the streets. And we saw this, suggested rehab. And that never took. So as his drug use got deeper and deeper, eventually he got in trouble. And then the trouble became deeper, and then he ended up in prison. So the first time he was in prison, it was for 7 years. He got used to the prison life, again, because he could adapt to any situation. So he did that really quickly. And are there drugs on the prison yard? There absolutely are. Was he involved in that? I could say he was. Um, but he he managed through it. His survival skills are high. He made a lot of friends. And then when he was released in, I think 2015, he got out and it looked really promising. He got a job, and then some things started to go awry in his life. And he spiraled out again. And when that happened, he ended up returning to prison for another 4.5 years. While he was in prison, I think this time he practiced a lot more sobriety. He was talking with his sister, who had also suffered from addiction from her teenage years, and she had consequently found sobriety, long-term sobriety. So they had been corresponding and talking back and forth while he was in prison. She introduced him to a girlfriend of hers. He was interested in that, and she lives in California, so her sobriety community is huge. I think that contributes to her long-term sobriety. So the plan was, when he got home, that he would take care of what he needed to take care of here in Arizona, and then he would make that that jump over to California in close to his sister and this group, and he had been introduced. He flew back and forth to California. He knew these people. He was actually excited about getting a life again and direction. He found himself a little part-time job to hold him over until he could get a clearance from the state of Arizona to go ahead and move to California. And that was coming through. He got out November 1st, 2021. Then Mother's Day 2022. He had reached out to me via text and said, "Hey, let's get together this evening. We'll have a cookout and we'll sit by the pool. And some of the guys are going to come over." And he brought his youngest daughter with him. And his stepdad was there. And everything seemed to be going okay. At this point, he had already started dabbling in drinking. But, in my mind at that time, it was better than shooting up heroin. But as the day went on, it was a relatively good day, and jokes were flying. Everybody was happy, and we were sitting out by the pool, and he said, "Hey, we're going out tonight, so I'm gonna take a quick shower at your place." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So there was a group of us, and probably 10 minutes in after he had gotten up, I said, "I'm going to go check on Brian." And his friends were, "No, he's fine. He's probably doing the guy thing. And, you're worrying about nothing." And it was maybe another 5 minutes. And I just had a physically sick feeling. And I got up, went to the bathroom, didn't hear the shower, knocked on the door, didn't hear anything, and I opened the door and he was laying on the floor. So I was screaming, "He's somebody help, he's down, he is." And I knew because of, the 2 decades of experience I had. So his stepdad, my husband, and one of his buddies came in, dragged him out of the bathroom into the hallway, and started CPR. And at that moment, I think we were in shock. But the guys kept pumping, and I think his daughter got on the phone with 911 because I couldn't move, I couldn't talk. And they said, my husband had said, "I think he's gone." Nobody's quitting. We're going to keep doing this until the fire department showed up. They came, they had the paddles. You hear that beep and you think, "Oh, the heart's going to start again." And finally, as they were wheeling him out of the house past me, because they wouldn't let me near him, and I said, "Is he gone?" And they said, "We can't, we have to take him to the hospital, and they are the ones that will make any final determinations." There was one firefighter that was the last one leaving, and I said, "I know you can't tell me, but what is he gone? And without getting in trouble, he said, "We are not allowed to make that final call." And from that and in his tone, I already knew he was gone. So from there, we went to the hospital and, I had a funeral, did all of the things you do. And part of me, I can blame myself partially because knowing his background, why didn't I have Narcan? Why? I don't know why. People wonder if their loved one had suffered. And I too wondered that. And then I spoke to a medical doctor who informed me that it was, they felt nothing. It couldn't have been any more peaceful. They just go into a very deep sleep and then the organs start shutting down, but they're not aware of that. The pain level is 0. And that made me feel a little better, a little better. It will be 3 years this Mother's Day. I have good days, I have bad days. I keep busy. I connect with people who have gone through the same thing. Every story seems to be a little different, but the end result is always the same. It's always the same. We're talking about people that we love, and the last things we have are their bodies in a box. How do you? And it's a box physically and emotionally that never really gets closed. Doesn't close. It doesn't go away. It doesn't get any better. You continue to process and go through every moment of their life. Where did it go wrong? What happened? What could I have done differently? I'm not sure, but I have gone through step by step from birth till the end, and I guess I'm going to continue. There, it's a hole that will never get filled. No matter what their past was or the things they went through, at the end of the day, they're loved. They were. So you continue to tell these stories or speak about them. And, I think that there are people who believe you're going to get over it, or it wasn't important, or they were a drug addict, or maybe they had this coming. But in the end, it's all love, and that's what you're left with. So, and that's what hurts. Love hurts. It's like a song. Um, yeah. So I have good days. I have bad days. I keep busy. I connect with people who have gone through the same thing. Every story seems to be a little different, but the end result is always the same. I think in 2023 there were over 100,000 young people between 15 and 44. That's an enormous amount. Why we cannot and have not gotten the attention that this needs, I don't know. I don't know. A lot of the people who do these videos or who are out in the community trying to turn their grief into something positive, to bring awareness to these fentanyl issues. I just hope that with videos like this, community groups, online groups, all of those things will get that message out there. And everybody should have Narcan. That's that. I don't care. Just have Narcan. It could be the guy at Circle K, but if you've got it, you've got it. You can save a life, and all lives are worth saving.